This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete Haynes online manual at haynes.com.
Place a chalk or suitable stone each side of the wheel diagonally opposite the wheel to be removed. Remove the hubcap stroke wheel trim or plastic caps from the wheel bolts. Use the special adapter in the toolkit to slacken the anti-theft wheel bolts. Slacken the remaining wheel bolts half a turn. Place the workshop jack under the reinforced section of the sill and raise the vehicle until the wheel is clear of the ground. Place an axle stand under the reinforced section of the sill or subframe rear mounting point. Fully undo the bolts and remove the road wheel. Pull the brake caliper outwards a little to force the piston into its bore. Slacken and remove the lower caliper guide pin bolt. Note that new guide pin bolts must be fitted. Pivot the caliper upwards and tie it to the suspension strut using wire or string. Remove the outer brake pad and the inner brake pad. Measure the thickness of the pad's friction material. If it's 2 mm or less, all 4 pads must be renewed. Check the condition of the gaiters and check that the guide pins slide freely in the caliper. Renew if necessary. Inspect the caliper piston dust seal for damage or evidence of fluid leaks. Using brake cleaner and a soft brush, clean the dust and dirt from the caliper and mounting bracket. If new pads are to be fitted, the piston must be pushed fully back into the caliper body to accommodate the increased thickness of new pads. Ideally, use a piston retraction tool to force the piston back. Fit the piston retraction tool, lower the caliper and fit a hose clamp to the rubber hose. Remove the cap and attach a brake bleeding kit to the bleed nipple. Open the bleed nipple as the piston is retracted. The surplus brake fluid will then be collected in the bleed kit vessel. Close the bleed nipple just before the caliper piston is pushed fully into the caliper. This should ensure no air enters the hydraulic system. Note that the ABS unit contains hydraulic components that are very sensitive to impurities in the brake fluid. Even the smallest particles can cause the system to fail through blockage. The pad retraction method described here prevents any debris in the brake fluid expelled from the caliper from being passed back to the ABS hydraulic unit, as well as preventing any chance of damage to the master cylinder seals. Remove the bleeding kit, refit the cap, and remove the hose clamp. Remove the piston retraction tool and tie the caliper to the suspension strut again. Make sure that the shims at the top and bottom of the caliper bracket are in place. Apply a little high temperature anti-seize grease to the pad backplate where it slides on the caliper mounting bracket. Make sure that no grease contacts the friction material. Fit the new inner brake pad. If there's a chamfer on the edge of the friction material, fit the pads so that the chamfer is at the top. Now fit the outer brake pad. Ensure that the friction material is against the disc face. Lower the caliper into place. Fit the new guide pin bolt and tighten it to the specified torque. Note that if the new bolts are not already pre-coated with locking compound, apply a suitable thread locking compound to them. Now pump the brake pedal a few times to bring the pads into contact with the brake disc. Clean the hub mating surface with a wire brush. Apply a little high temperature anti-seize grease to the hub centre. Refit the wheel. Insert and lightly tighten the bolts. Remove the axle stand and lower the vehicle to the ground. Working in a diagonal sequence, tighten the wheel bolts to the specified torque. Refit the hubcap / wheel trim or plastic covers.